Well, first of all, Kristen, as typical for NBC and the biased media, you played one excerpt of my speech. I stand by my comments that I made on the House floor. I stood up for election integrity, and I challenged and objected to the certification of the state of Pennsylvania.
That's Elise Stefanik fact-checking NBC's very own crazy-eyed reporter Kristen Welker on Meet the Press. Welcome to Nurk News. I'm Nurkish. And it's an election year, so that means that journalists and establishment media have shifted the narrative to Republicans attacking democracy. Thankfully, most of these people are idiots, and we have quick-witted representatives like Elise Stefanik to flip the script and call them out on their BS.
President Biden cast the former president as a threat to democracy. This was an argument that was effective in 2020. It was a winning argument for Democrats.
Well, first, Kristen, I wouldn't say it's a winning argument. In fact, in 2022, Democrats lost the House, and House Republicans ran on the issues that matter to the American people. We ran on securing the border. We ran on addressing the historic inflation, which the American people know is a result of Joe Biden's failed policies and the trillions of dollars of reckless spending. And what Joe Biden didn't mention in his speech were any of the policies that have created a crisis across America. So zero mention of the border, which is wide open and a top issue even in my home state in New York. You have Democrat mayors who are speaking out about Joe Biden's border crisis. No mention of inflation, which continues to be a concern for voters across my district. And when it comes to threats to democracy, Joe Biden and Democrats are a threat to democracy. We see them attempting to remove President Trump from the ballot. We saw this in Colorado and Maine.
You know, it's a little weird that people who keep calling us a democracy and not a republic are the same ones who want to suppress the American people by removing candidates from the ballot. Funny how that works. Now, this interview, like every single one Welker does with Republicans, followed the same script and was largely devoted to Jan 6 and her repeatedly asking her guests to defend things Trump said. But unlike a lot of conservatives, Stefanik didn't shy away from her position.
And I want to correct another statement you made that there is no coordination with Joe Biden and the Department of Justice in prosecutions against President Trump. We just saw Hunter Biden defy a congressional subpoena and the White House admitting it was in coordination with Joe Biden the morning of. That is coordination, and I believe that Joe Biden will be found to be the most corrupt president in our nation's history. And that's why all of the investigative work that we're doing is so important, because the American people, they deserve transparency and accountability.
A lot to unpack there. Of course, the White House has said that Hunter Biden is acting unilaterally on the issue of election integrity, though. As you know, Trump took his case to court more than 60 times that there was fraud. He didn't win. But I want to get back to this key question. Do you still think it was a tragic day? Do you think that the people who stormed the Capitol should be held responsible to the full extent of the law?
I have concerns about the treatment of January 6 hostages.
Now, you may have noticed that Stefanik mentioned immigration earlier, which is one of Biden's numerous weak points with voters. So naturally, this eventually triggered the NBC journalist to run .exe, Poisoning America, Orange Man Bad.
I want to ask you, you talk about moral clarity. I want to ask you about something that former President Trump recently said. He referred to migrants as, quote, poisoning the blood of our country. This is language that the Biden campaign, others, says, quote, is parroting Adolf Hitler. Are you comfortable with former President Trump's comments?
Well, yet again, we have the media, which is so biased, which is reiterating whatever the talking points the Biden campaign is giving.
I'm giving you the opportunity to respond. I'm just giving you the opportunity to respond.
Our border crisis is poisoning Americans through fentanyl. It is poisoning people, including in my district, who are dying from overdoses of fentanyl. And you know why? Because of Joe Biden's wide open border, that executive actions he took on day one. So yes, I stand by President Trump. And President Trump also has he has the strongest record when it comes to supporting the Jewish people and supporting the state of Israel.
You know, sometimes I think I dislike journalists too much, but then I see stuff like this and it reminds me that I don't dislike them enough. I mean, it's one thing to lie or distort the truth, but this whole professional, objective journalist persona they put on is just nauseating. I mean, why should we care that Democrats are making outlandish comparisons to our candidates when they've literally been doing that for decades? And I'm sorry, this poisoning America thing is just getting ridiculous. It's like when Trump called MS-13 animals and liberals clutched their pearls and ran articles about it. A poison is something that causes illness or death. If you can't see how an unknown population pouring into your country, draining its resources, committing crime, causing violence, and getting people addicted to drugs is like a poison, I don't know what to tell you. Are there good people pouring in illegally? Probably. Does that change things? Nope. But let me know what you think. How do you feel about Stefanik being on Trump's short list for VP after watching this video? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, please go to like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Boy!